Hello, good evening. It's Friday night. It's In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral. And we've got two of the finest racecourses bringing us some absolutely top-class action tomorrow, including a genuine Grade 1, with genuine Grade 1 contenders lining up. 10 Grade 1 wins between them, and a battle of the generations as well in one of the best Tingle Creeks we have seen in years. Not only that, but of course we've got action over the national fences over at Aintree as well. Will Hoysignor continue his Liverpool love affair? And we could see some nice future winners, of course. The first race on Sandown's card tomorrow was won by the one and only Constitution Hill last year. I very much doubt we're going to see the same kind of quality. That probably happens every 20 years or so. But still, it's a fascinating card at Sandown. It's a great card at Aintree as well. And hopefully we'll have some winners to follow you through the afternoon. If you are watching at home, please do like and subscribe to that stream on YouTube as well. And get involved in the chat, as I know you will. Plenty of races to rattle through tonight, so hopefully we'll squeeze a few selections in as the evening goes. My name is Ross Brierley. As ever, we've got a top team to go through the racing on Saturday afternoon, and I joined as ever in the studio by a man who, in his own words, has been wallowing in winners this week, knocking them in left, right and centre. But if the rule of tipsters is anything to go by, the moment you start enjoying yourself, Keels, it's the moment it goes south.
The minute you get cocky, it all goes pear-shaped, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
But, last Saturday was a great day. Back the first 5 winners at Newbury, I was wallowing in something else by the end of the evening, I can assure you.
I've heard they were carrying you out like an Aztec king.
A needy carrier by the end of the night. I certainly from the pub in Isha that we went to in the end. But
yeah. So you spent the winnings then?
Fair amount, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Good fun though.
But tomorrow looks good as well.
Tomorrow's fantastic, and proper jump racing, 2 cracking cards to get stuck into. I fancy loads, fancy more Aintree than I do at Sandown, to be honest. But yeah, fancy plenty. There's a brilliant card at Ferry House on Sunday as well, so it's a proper weekend. Won't be doing much else other than watching racing.
Yeah, we did get we got a tweet last week, didn't we? Saying why don't you cover the Irish racing? It would give a nice balanced view. But there's 9 races we're going through tonight just in the UK, and that's not covering most of Aintree as well. So maybe Tom Segal will stick around for an extra bonus hour of content going through the Irish racing. A 7 o'clock kickoff for the football though might scupper that one, Tom.
2 Oaks, Ross. Bob, obviously. Brazil are playing.
They are indeed, yeah. Have you left the house since the World Cup started, Tom?
Hardly. No, I absolutely love it. That match, the last night and this afternoon have been brilliant. I've just been chatting with Dave there, and he's the same opinions. Absolutely tremendous stuff. Love it.
Yes, and yeah, you got racing throughout the afternoon. You got the World Cup as well to boot. And are you? I always feel bad because I remember when I saw with Graham Rodway and he was in good form a few weeks ago, and bigging him up. The problem is, Tom, you're always in form, so I don't ever big you up.
Well, I don't get that many chances, so I go, hopefully, a couple of winners a week will do me because that's the way it goes. But yeah, it was good. Newbury was good. Didn't have the first 5 winners last Saturday, but Zanza, our old friend Zanza, did the business. Ross, you missed it. Where were you?
I was when I saw Mondomej wasn't running, I didn't bother. So I can't believe we couldn't get the double up this year. But yeah, Zanza, who's apparently we were talking about this a second ago. What is it about Newbury that brings out the best? What is it? Certain courses, Zanza. There's no particular reason on paper why you would love Newbury above all the other tracks he runs at, but it's the only one he wins at. It's
crazy, isn't it? Even crazier is the fact that Philip Hobbs has only run him there 4 times in his life as a 9-year-old. He should be running him there 4 times a year.
Yeah.
Everywhere, every time. That's the only place he should run him.
Yeah, you're right. He should be. He should be a genuine Grade 2 performer at that track, shouldn't he? By now, but
if he ran in the Denman Chase later on over 3 miles, if he was a big price and one of these flashy sort of Grade 2 novice chasers, or an Eldorado Allen, one of those was up against him, I'd be on Zanza every day of the week.
He'd have gone close in the Coral Gold Cup if he'd have run in that,
He'd have gone close in the Lockinge, guys. He loves the track so much.
Steady on.
But David Stevens joining us as well for another cracking weekend of racing action, and you've racing on one channel. How many? You got the 12 monitors set up with all the stats, all the channels, all the World Cup action.
It is when you need a betting shop at home with all the different screens. Good evening, gentlemen. Lovely to be here again. Keels is actually being rather modest. His performance at Newbury last week was spectacular, and he really was being cheered to the rafters in the box there at Newbury. He was an absolute hero. I'm not surprised he was slightly worse for wear later on. He deserved to be, but really good weekend at Newbury. And obviously up at Newcastle, we saw Constitution Hill. Slightly premature, some of these people saying, he's the greatest thing ever. Come on, Isterbrack behind me. Now that's a horse. When he's won 3 champion hurdles, come back to me. But we went from Newbury up to Carlisle last weekend when Annie Mack made her reappearance for the Coral Racing Club. And 10 lucky owners for the day all picked up 300 quid because she picked up £3,000 in prize money. So it's never too late to join the free-to-join Coral Racing Club. We should have 2 or 3 more winners. 2 or 3 more runners before the year is out.
No, you just guaranteed us 2 or 3 more winners, David. We have to take your first answer, I'm afraid. So,
well, we remain optimistic anyway. Lady Mendoza, she could go well at Musselburgh later in the month, hopefully. But anyway, that's all for another day. We got a brilliant weekend. I'm with Keels on this. This is fantastic. Over the big fences at Aintree in the Beecher. And is there anything more majestic than the 2 milers taking on the railway fences at Sandown? And let's get in nice and early with a price boost. We never thought it would happen. Shishkin is running. This is brilliant.
Do you get an extra half point if he runs?
Let's not start. He's going to run. Nicky said so. He was even money, 6-4 for the duration of this live show, up to 20 quid. 6-4 Shishkin.
It is an extra half point.
yeah, there you go.
Yes, and he is going to run. There we go. We're in agreement.
There you go. Shishkin, the first price boost of the night, available till 7 o'clock. And like you said, it is a great weekend. Hello to everyone watching at home. Racing Demon, Music Mike, Stevens 99, Devo, and Devo says biggest race of the year, Peterborough Chase Day on Sunday as well. So
Of course, yeah, I forgot that.
Saturday's brilliant, Sunday's brilliant. So lock yourself in the house and watch a bit of the racing in the World Cup as well. Perfect. And good luck with your relationships, everyone at home. Let's move on to Sandown. First race of the day tomorrow. 12 o'clock start. And we've got possibly, according to Michael Barnett, the good thing of the weekend, and that is authorised speed at 4-9. Immortal is 15-8. Starflyer at 12-1. Goddo 14-1. William of York 22s. Harvey Wallbanger 50s with Santos Blue and 80-1. And bigger the rest. Keels, come to you first. We saw obviously a fantastic winner of this race last year. Authorised speed might not be a Constitution Hill, but he's certainly a very classy horse.
Well, he looked very good, didn't he? When he won at Lingfield, he was 5th in the champion bumper. And he looked pretty natural at Lingfield, 1 in a canter. Very impressive. I just remember that a year ago, Might Eye looked a real tool when he won at Newton Abbot and came here and was a warm favourite early morning, and then suddenly this money came for the Nicky Henderson horse, which happened to be Constitution Hill. So worth remembering that Nicky Henderson has won 6 of the last 10 runnings of this.
Yep.
But he did look very good, authorised speed. I shan't have a bet in the race, but he's going to take a lot of beating. I think Immortal of Nicky Henderson's, unraced, bought for 105,000 guineas by Henrietta Knight, I think. Interesting, but the form's in the book for authorised speed. He's going to have to be very good to win.
Yes, he is indeed. But you would have said the same thing about Mai Tai last year. So authorised speed 4-9, Immortal 15-8. A couple other slightly interesting ones, Starflyer and. I've been waiting for Goddo for ages, Tom, but I'm not sure he's going to turn up.
Moderate start, Ross.
Well, it's fine. I've heard they're thinking about switching into Rafe Beckett, but for a flat season. But authorised speed, good thing or not?
Yeah, that wins. Move on.
Fair enough. David Stephens, authorised speed 4-9 here for this opener. It's 10 runners though. This is going to be Immortal's going to be in all sorts of filthy each way doubles and trebles, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm ashamed to say that I was going to say waiting for Goddo if you hadn't, so I just hang my head in shame there for a second. Look, Gary Moore obviously loves this track, but as Paul said, so does Nicky Henderson. Reckon this race is pretty good. Authorised speed, let's hope they've got a good one, the Moors. I thought Starflyer possibly was the each-way alternative to the front two. Ran well enough in 2 bumpers. Warren Greatrex is running much, much better this year. Possibly around the 12-1, he could be the answer. But authorised speed on what we've seen. But yeah, Immortal, given Nicky Henderson's record, it might not be quite that straightforward for the odds-on favourite.
Okay, yeah, there has been a bit of money for Immortal, 15-8 against Authorised Speed, 4-9 for the opener tomorrow. The 12:35 at Sandown is what we're going to look at next. This mare's handicap hurdle, and we've got more Grade 1 form on offer in this race as well. Of course, West Balboa hasn't been seen since finishing runner-up in the Challow Hurdle to Stage Star back in December last year, and is here for a handicap hurdle. So. Interesting that Dan Skelton goes this route to kick off her first start of the season. Kokelico is 9-2. White Hot Chili Filly is very well handicapped and is 15-2. Plenty of Time 15-2. Whiskey Express is 15-2. Mary Poppins 11-1. Teresita is 14s with Muna Macaroona, and it is bigger the rest here. I say Grade 1 form. The Challow Hurdle it's always a funny race, isn't it, Tom? And half the field we haven't seen since that contest. So West Balboa 5-4. On paper, you're looking at it off a mark of 127 and thinking, surely she just has to turn up, jump and win. But is it that simple?
Well, no, I don't think it is. I'm with you. I thought the Challow was... Stage Star got wiped out, didn't he, at Newbury? I know I was over fences the other day, but I don't think it was a very good race. First run of the season, I think I think she's very good. I'm sure she is. But I was impressed with Coquelicot at Ascot. I thought the ground was very testing, or quite soft at Sandown today on the hurdle course. It is always well watered. You've got to remember it's the flat track they race over hurdles on, and that was soft all season, I thought, on the flat. The time suggested it was very soft. I think it was really pretty testing, and the first time was very slow. And so I don't know. I'd prefer the proven stamina of Coquelicot. I think she looked an improved filly at Ascot the other day, and what she will do is keep on staying. So of the two, I'd prefer her, but West Balboa is the one with all the potential. You're spot on.
5-4 West Balboa. If you don't fancy the favourite, then this race suddenly is absolutely wide open. A couple of horses catch eye a little bit. The well handicapped White Hot Chili Filly, but also a couple of weeks ago we were saying Teresita might run well at Ascot, and she ran an absolute shocker. But,
yeah, she didn't.
But the Yards horses have. There's been 2 or 3 this week that have taken huge steps forward with one run.
Yeah, it could do. I mean, you would have liked to see her a bit more because it was a pretty awful run, wasn't it? I mean, I did get involved in it that day. I think West Balboa, I mean, we know, like Tom, I don't think Stage Star was. I think Stage Star was massively overrated, and it wasn't that much of a race. However, in his stable tour, Dan Skelton, he had West Balboa in a much better race at Newbury last week, and he said in his stable report, he pretty much expected her to win.
Yeah.
And now she runs in the lower class, so but that's all factored into the price. I'd imagine she's going to be there or thereabouts, but I wouldn't back her at that price. I would take a chance on White Hot Chili Filly, who's been second in this race, hasn't won a listed mare's hurdle on the track, like soft ground, like Tom said, it was slow, it was pretty slow on the chase course as well, by the way. And has got a low mark. Has got a low mark now. Is really well handicapped. She comes here after a wind up. She's got Ben Bromley, who's quite promising, taking off £7. He rode Call Me Lord to win a race at Kempton the other day for Nicky Anderson. So he's being used by good trainers. And on her best form, she's easily the best handicapped horse on form in the book. So I'd have a couple of quid each way on her. I wouldn't go mad because she hasn't run to that level for a while, which is why she's come back down the weights. But with the wind up and the claimer taking off £7, she could be very, very nicely treated.
Yeah, Yard are in good form. Like I said, the jockey's riding really well, and she's run in the past 2 renewals of this race, and she's spectacularly well handicapped on both those. She was second a couple of years ago. So interesting stuff. 15-2 White Hot Chili Filly. Yeah, I'm going to take a chance with Teresita at 14s. I think third over course and distance on soft ground. In a better race than this last season, and the Wadham horses are definitely improving farther run. So a variety of opinions here, David, for this second race at Sandown.
Yeah, a variety of opinions, but I think we're all in agreement that West Balboa has to be taken on at the prices, and she has actually shortened 5-4 from 11-8. Obviously, in her favour is the form of the Yard at the moment. They are flying, but I'm another one for White Hot Chili Filly, like Keels, for all the reasons he says. Talented apprentice taking off 7. She looks well in. Good course form, and Harry Fry, who has some really good-looking rides or runners later on in this Sandown card as well. He's the subject of our next price boost. He's got a couple in this race. Whiskey Express wouldn't be without a chance either. Harry Fry to have 2 or more winners at Sandown tomorrow afternoon was 13-8, is now 9-4. So you get with a few good ones trained by Harry Fry.
Okay, Harry Fry's trained 2 or more winners at Sandown on Saturdays, 9-4, out from 13-8. But second race at Sandown, Keels, how are you playing it?
Yeah, I'll have a couple of quid each way on white hot chili filly, but I won't go mad.
Okay, I'll have a nibble on Teresita against the favourite. Tom?
Cockley Cove for me.
Okay, lovely stuff. There you go. Selections for that at 12:35 at Sandown. Next up, a Temps Network qualifier. Obviously, going to be plenty of shenanigans in behind for the placings, but can we find the winner? That's the question. Halo de Obo is 4-1 joint favourite with Bridge North. There has been quite a bit of money for Halo de Obo, who has been quite well back for the Paul Nichols stable. I think the man to my left might have something to do with that. City Ishmael is 11-2. Sandown's favourite son, Call Me Lord, is 11-2. Dolphin Square is 13-2. Sarabi is 9. Scarpia 10s. Nambiti 12s. And bigger prices the rest. 11 of them go to post over at Sandown. And just to confirm, David, an extra place, I believe?
We have got 4 places in this Temps qualifier, absolutely.
Lovely stuff. Okay. What's running on for 6th might well be the most interesting later on in the season. But we've got quite a few unexposed types here, Paul Kealy. None more so than Halo de Obo, who relished bad ground here at this track last time out. And I'm pretty sure you'd had a nibble on this earlier. Is that right?
No, incorrect. Incorrect claim.
I could have sworn I saw that on your dance card.
Don't think so.
No?
No.
Oh, it's probably the only horse you haven't backed from what I was seeing earlier.
Actually,
but
you sat there and you watched me.
I don't think so. You didn't even know it.
I was not sure, yeah.
Mate, I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
fair.
I mean, not.
I thought you were the man behind the money here.
I had a couple of quid each way on Copperhead while we were discussing the race. Do you remember?
I can barely remember what I had for dinner.
Yeah, I was looking at this race, and you know, Halo des Obo did need every yard of 2.5 mile last time, and obviously looks like he's going to stay. I was just underwhelmed by the prices. Underwhelmed by the top of the market. I don't think Call Me Lord really stays 3 miles. Bridge North, he's got a bit too. You know, he's got a low enough mark for a horse that was tried in Grade 1 company last year, but he's got a low enough mark for me. And I went back. I mean, okay, you know, Copperhead is obviously not the horse he was, but. You know, in his stable tour, Joe Tizard said he was absolutely jumping out of his skin. Unfortunately, he couldn't jump the fences well enough when he reappeared and he threw Brendan Powell out of the saddle. But he's got Harry Cobden in here. He's actually really well handicapped, even on his hurdles form off a mark of 134. So I'm just going to have a little guess. Again, it's not a race I'm going to get heavily involved in, but I just didn't like the front of the market that much. So I thought I'd have a go at an outsider.
Okay. But yeah, and again, we're talking about Newbury for Zanza, but soft ground at Sandown is a real love-hate experience, and he's obviously 1 from 1 in these conditions at the track. So
yeah. I mean, it's it's a case of 1 from 1's not massive evidence, is it? But
no.
I mean, the fact that he has done it,
he's proven that he doesn't hate it, though.
Yeah.
Which is half the battle. Call Me Lord certainly loves it here. Only at the frame once in 9 attempts, so he's got to have an interest, even if the trip is a slight concern. Bridge North, Henry Daly. Knocking him in daily at the moment. He's in scintillating form, as is David Pike with City Ismail. And Dolphin Square, I thought was interesting as well, Tom. Soft ground, David Maxwell, 5 from 5, this horse. Disappointed at this track last year, but I think if the ground is testing tomorrow, he will just keep going and going.
Yeah, he'll definitely do that. I personally like Bridge North best. I thought he ran perfectly well in a slowly run race over 2.5 miles at Aintree last time, stayed on nicely. I think he loves soft ground. That's the key to him. The further he goes, the better he is. He's from the family of Celestial Gold, who won the Hennessy, of Tifa 3, who was second in a Welsh National. He's just going to keep on grinding. He's never really had these conditions before in his life. He ran fine, be 5th to Gelino Bello in the Grade 1 at Aintree. Stable's in form, as you say. I think everything's right for him. I think he's a better horse than the Halo des Obo, if truth be told, and I think he could be a really good bet tomorrow. Actually, I think he'll stay really well, and I think he'll probably win.
Yeah, I can't remember which race. It was the Banbridge race a couple of weeks ago, who of course was well beaten in that Grade 1 at Aintree, where we were saying there's one horse in the race where you think, okay, this is the one that, if he takes the conditions, could absolutely blow this race apart and be significantly better. You get the feeling with Bridge North. Yeah, like you said, he could kind of go either way, but if he wins, he's going to be a very exciting prospect.
I agree entirely. I mean, he's the one horse that has the potential. He's just going to be a proper stare, isn't he? I mean, I think his future's over fences, isn't it, probably? And he'll probably be running in, marathon chases at some stage of his career. But I think, off this mark, with his unexposed nature, I'd be disappointed. I mean, they've all had so many runs, haven't they? All the rest of Halo's Days Their Bow. I'd be disappointed if he can't win off that mark.
Yeah, and what used to happen with Henry Daly, these staying chasers, they'd do all right over hurdles and then they would explode. But like Blenkinsop, that won today, is a staying chaser and he's still bolting up over hurdles. So they appear to have got a real level of consistency at the moment that they didn't previously have. David Stevens, 4-1 the field, joint favourites here. This is open stuff.
Yes, may not be, given the positive points Tom's just made there about Bridgnorth. He could take favouritism. Obviously, we've got a couple of Coral ambassadors featuring here. Copperhead, Hills is fancy. I mean, Joe said, look, he has lost his way. We just want to try and get his confidence back, hence the drop back over hurdles. But they still think plenty of this horse. He's an 18-1 shot for this. And Tom Scudamore rides City Ismail. He wears the blinkers for the first time. They've schooled him in there. He said he scored very well. I think Tom's quietly confident about that one. But yeah, we can't split the two at the head of the market at the moment. I wouldn't be quite so dismissive of Halo de Zobo. You'd think there'd be more improvement to come on his second start for Nichols. Won obviously a similar sort of race last time.
Okay, yeah. Halo de Zobo 4-1. A City Ismail, tongue tie and blinkers combination, which worked for Panic Attack, didn't it, a couple of weeks ago for the same connection. So good little racing prospect, Keels.
Yeah, it is a good little race. I'm going to still have a couple of quid each way on Copperhead at a big price.
Okay, I'll go for the David Maxwell special on Dolphin Square. Tom?
Yeah, Bridgnorth for me.
Bridgnorth it is. And David?
Halo de Zobo.
Okay, there you go. That's an open race. Let's see if anyone at home has anything to say. Racing Team is going for Call Me Lord. That's about it in this race. Good evening to you, Barry Arthurs, by the way, who asks, has Ross had his eyebrows done? And it's just, I've just had a haircut, which has been a long time coming, Barry. But thanks for noticing. I appreciate it.
I have my eyebrows done when I go to the hairdresser. It takes longer to do my hair.
Yeah, just get tangled in between the two as well. He also says Paul Kealy is God, so I'm not sure what Barry started early. I think 6:20 tonight.
Very early,
potentially. 1:45 at Sandown tomorrow is the Henry VIII Novices Chase. In fact, where we have again. A small field, like we did at Warwick a couple of weeks ago. But again, hopefully, we will see a John Bond jumping masterclass. He's 2-7 to go in again and continue the Edwardstone route towards Arkle Glory, which worked quite nicely last season, of course. Boot Hill, though, not rated too far behind him on ratings, albeit in very different contests. Unexpected Party, it would be if that won at 12-1, and Honor de Jonc is 80-1 outsider of the bunch. But again, people assuming that this is going to be another jumping exhibition for John Bond, Tom, and speed figure-wise, actually had him bettering anything he did over hurdles last time out at Warwick, despite the fact that he pretty much did it in his own time. So obviously he's very exciting, but can Boot Hill give him something to worry about?
Unlikely. I think John Bond's totally different class to Boot Hill and the others. Look, he's just very good, isn't he? I mean, he was second to Constitution Hill at Cheltenham. He won at Aintree. He looked fine on his chase debut, jumped really well, didn't he? Just whether he gets round. If he gets round, he'll win. I think he's better than these. I think I'm not so dismissive of Unexpected Party as you are, Ross. I think he's really, at the start of the season, he was my sort of sneaky one that one day might win the Grand Annual or something like that. And he's been crying out for a drop back for 2 miles. When he won at Ascot last year, he absolutely hacked all over them. He was very strongly fancied for the Coral Cup. I think he was as good a hurdler as Boot Hill. Didn't stay on his debut. What I'm gutted about is he's running in this race, because if he comes second or finishes in front of Boot Hill, he's going to go up, £10 and ruin his handicap mark. But there we go. That's their choice. It's only a 4-runner race after all. But I think John Bond will win, and I'm looking for a good run from Unexpected Party, who I think is a lot better than people think.
Okay, Unexpected Party, yeah. Who I guess in the back of my mind, I always have that Skelton runs these horses in here. Sometimes it's easier to disguise your true ability when you're being beaten 40 lengths by
there
a top
are
class
lots
horse.
of horses that win handicaps having been running graded races, down the field in graded races, and then it's not a bad way to go. You can run in a race that. He's not going to get too close to John Bond if John Bond runs the way he ran last time anyway, unless they're expecting him to be a proper Grade 1 horse himself. It's Unexpected Party, but I doubt that. I keep getting these Nicky Henderson horses wrong and backing them for the wrong races. Last year I backed that Constitution Hill Anti-Post for the Ballymore, and this year I backed John Bomb for the Turners, because I got convinced after that Aintree race last year that he wanted 2.5 miles. So I could do with him looking a hell of a lot slower than he looked at Warwick last time, but I don't think that's going to happen. So yeah, he's different classes, and he should win, put up a good performance too, I'd imagine.
Okay, Boot Hill then. I mean, he's only rated £5 behind John Bon.
Yeah, he's rated £5 behind John Bomb for being pushed right out to win a handicap, where John Bond's won in a canter.
But I guess when you get to this rating, you've got to say, okay, well, let's see how good he actually is, and go from there. But he could be up against a very nice horse indeed in the shape of John Bon at 2 to 7. Can't imagine too many people are steaming in at that price tomorrow, David. But I'm sure there'll be plenty of anti-post slips for a variety of races by the sounds of things, in anticipation of a nice win tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, he's already 2-1 favourite for the Arkle, which shows you how impressive he was on that chasing debut. Of course, his hurdles form, we know, behind Constitution Hill. He does look the real deal again, doesn't he? 2 to 7, but if you fancy him to win by over 7 lengths is how we're setting it. Was 11 to 10, is now 6 to 4. So get with him if you think he can win this by over 7 lengths.
Okay, which he hasn't done yet in his career, but I guess maybe in this better contest he might well do. And a shout out at Paige at home, who says, "Somebody give John Bond credit for once. Someone, please. I'm on my knees." Well, I mean, like I said last time out, that number was better over fences than anything he did over hurdles. I think he's only just on the cusp of his genuine ability, Tom.
I think he's brilliant, horse. I mean, who's not giving him any credit? I thought we all gave him loads of credit. I thought, he's fantastic. I mean, he jumped brilliantly, Grade 1 winner. What's more to say? He'll win.
There you go. He'll win. John Bond 2 to 7 though, but to win by over 7 lengths is 6 to 4. If you want to take advantage of that price boost on screen. Sandown's 220 is up next. Again, more genuine Grade 1 form on offer in handicap company. People will be looking at West Balboa and Love Envoire and thinking they'll get a nice little double on these two. It's never that simple, though, especially at Sandown in soft ground. But Henry Fry's Charge is a 6 to 4 favourite, ahead of En Public at 7 to 2, Playful Saint at 7 to 1, Hermes Boys 7 to 1, Nayati is 9 to 1, Friend or Foe is 10 to 1, Martator 14s, In the Air is 16 to 1, and it is bigger price as the rest then for this 0 to 150. And again, Love Envoire putting some genuine quality form to the table. Could be a really good day for Harry Fry tomorrow, as that earlier price boost possibly alluded to. And I think plenty of people had a good bet on her at Cheltenham. Finished second in Grade 1 company at Fairyhouse. Hasn't been seen since April. But again, interesting that both this horse and West Balboa start off in handicap company at Sandown tomorrow. Surely there'd have been other options for these horses.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can understand West Balboa because he's got a pretty low handicap market anyway. Love Envoire, I mean, she ran in a mare's novice at Cheltenham. It's not top class Grade 1 form, is it? I mean, it does, but that's reflected in a handicap mark of 139 as well, which might well be a tasty handicap mark. I'm not 100% certain. I wouldn't be rushing into backer at 7 to 4. I think this is quite an interesting race. There's a couple in here that I fancy. I backed En Public, who I just thought was really impressive last time at Weatherby, really, powering away at the end. That's made it 3 from 5 in Britain. He's up £7, but Toby Wynn's ridden loads of winners for the yard, and he takes off 5. And I think he's a horse going places. I think they rate him a fair bit, and so I like his chances. I thought Playful Saint would run well. I thought Nayati could run well for Donald McCain. Seems to be right back to form, so I think it's very open. I wouldn't be going anywhere near the Jolly at 7 to 4.
Okay. Love it more than 6 to 4 now, but I agree. It is only mare's form, as it were. But Party Central came out, found that Cheltenham form. Loads of horses have come out at the Fairyhouse race. Dino Blue, Horpeast, plenty down the field. The problem is, of course, they go over fences, win weak novices or mares races themselves, and it's only races like this that you judge the true mettle of that form, Tom. But speed figure wise, form figures wise, handicap mark. I mean, she only has to improve a little bit to win this race, but there are plenty of other options who will appreciate the conditions as well.
Absolutely, I think she's good. I think she's classy. I as obviously goes without saying, she won at Cheltenham, but I think she's got a very good chance. And when it is the thing I've got against her is first time up. I mean, Harry Fry's horses tend to go well first time up, but I can't believe this is where he's going to have a spot on for. And I think she'll have to be as good as she was at Cheltenham to win this off this mark. I think there's plenty in there, as Kealy says. I see he spoiled the en public price, or en public, or however you say it, price, because I think 7-2 is plenty short enough on the form. You know, he did look good last time at Wetherby, but the form's not great. The form before at Newcastle's even worse. And I think, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't back him at 7-2. I think that's plenty short enough. Playful Saint is definitely interesting. The Wetherby form when he beat Albert's back, is good. It's definitely good. I think Dan Skelton has said all along that once he gets really testing soft ground is when he's at his element. I think he'll get that tomorrow. So I think he'll go well. Keely's mentioned Nayati. I gave one at a very big price, In the Air, a bit of a shot for Gary Moore. He was impressive on his debut at Newbury. He won by about 6 or 7 lengths. Now, the form's not very good, but then he went straight to the Grade 1. He didn't run very well there, and he fell first time out at Fontwell. But I was at Ascot the other day, and I saw him run, and he got called out the back in a very slowly run race, won by Monvial, I think it was, or Philip Hobbs's horse. But it was pretty competitive. There were some good horses in there, and he was last turning for home, and he sort of made, without Jamie doing too much on him, he sort of flew home to finish 6th. He was right on the heels. He'd been 3rd in another couple of strides, I thought, or 4th in another couple of strides. And I just thought he was the type of horse that Gary Moore does well with in this type of races. 4-year-olds have a good record in this race. I just thought it was 25-20 to 1 few minutes ago, and I thought that was a very decent each way price for a horse that's going to relish the ground, has got no weight and has plenty of potential. Like Kealy says, can make cases for loads in this race, and that's the reason why I thought take a flyer at a big price one, because I think he's got potential to be better than his mark. 120 isn't, I would imagine Gary Moore's got bigger plans for him along the line. So 120, I think he can win off that. Whether he can win this, I don't know. But at the price, I thought it was worth taking a chance.
Yeah, and he's. I was going to say he's banging in winners left, right, and centre, which he is, Gary Moore. But it's getting to the point now in the National Hunt season at this early stage, Tom, where I'm struggling to find a yard who aren't having winners. Everyone seems to be in good nick at the moment. But Gary Moore, sort of 24% strike rate at the current moment, and Sandown is one of his tracks, isn't it? Can we have a word on Martyr Tour for a second as well, because we were talking about graded form. A 5-year-old has joined Venetia Williams, first time wind up, hasn't been seen since November last year. But has raced and placed twice in Grade 1 company, in Grade 1s over in France that have thrown up subsequent graded winners as well. Really hard to get a handle on that, and 142 obviously is a huge mark to overcome, but I mean, it could go either way, couldn't it? But,
it's one of these, you've seen plenty of these Venetia Williams come over, and they've got this form in France, and you really don't know how to go. I remember one last year that you thought was going to be about 2 to 1, went off like 28. Yeah. You know what I mean? And didn't show anything. So, it's a case of wait and see. Obviously got decent form, but probably handicapped up to it. I didn't actually look to see what his actual official mark was in France. But, the BHA handicap these days is a bit more generous with them, so may have a shot, but again, it's hard to put a figure on it, isn't it? Really.
Which he's very good at recruiting these French imports. So it could go 14 to 1. At least you possibly take a chance. And Playful Saint obviously would appreciate conditions as well. So again, we've got a graded form at the head of the market, David, but plenty of horses who will relish conditions again. It's deja vu at Sandown, but it's showing the depth of the contests on the card tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, and again, the chap's in agreement. There's a favourite here that has to be taken on. Both our selections on public has been shortened, 7-2 now, and In the Air. Gary Moore, a man who does so well with his handicap hurdlers here at Sandown. That one's shortened as well, 16 from Bigger earlier on. I'm completely in the dark now, having listened to the boys. I thought Kealy's made a very good case for On Public earlier in the week as well, and Tom's made a good case there. I might just put the pair of them in a forecast. But for those sticking with the favourite, just a reminder of our Harry Fry special, 9-4 from 13-8, that he has 2 or more winners on this Sandown card.
Okay, Harry Fry special then. He's got plenty of big chances on Saturday afternoon. And Love Envoi, possibly the biggest of the lot in that 220. But Keels?
Yeah, back on public. Just had a quick look at France Galop at that mark. On the old way of handicapping French horses by reciprocating their marks, he'd be a stone higher.
Right, okay. But we had
no,
that
I still
with,
no idea what that means.
Yeah. Well, we had that with. What was it? Was it the Nichols import that
yeah,
we've had a couple, haven't we, so far?
It was rubbish. Like, I mean, obviously, the big one was Gaelic Warrior, who was given a £10 lower mark last year for the Fred Winter, but still didn't win.
Yeah.
But
he wasn't 14 to 1.
I think they got to this place where they were reciprocating marks, and loads of French horses were coming over badly handicapped, so they had to do something. So they're handicapping them themselves now, and probably, overall doing a better job of it.
Okay. So Monster 14 to 1. Will that 142 be very generous or prohibitive? We'll find out at around 2:20 tomorrow afternoon. And then following that, in theory, touch wood. Is that wood? I think that's wood. Sounds like wood. We've got a potentially absolutely cracking lineup for the Tingle Creek, which is a fairly rare sentence over the past decade or so. Not that we haven't had good horses win this, but to have 4 Grade 1 winners and Grade 1 winners in the past 12 months as well turn up in the shape of Shishkin, Grenadine, Edwardstone and Gentleman de May makes this a very interesting race indeed. Not to mention you've also got Funambule Sivela, who's hit the frame in Grade 1 at Company, and Dunvegan, who suddenly improved out of nowhere last season to win a Grade 2 as well. So this is a cracking race, but all eyes will be on the return of Shishkin, who is even money to win first time of asking after that P by his name in the spring. 53% of you think he's going to come back with a bang. Grenadine for 30%, 9% Edwardstone, 8% others in this race. But it's even money Shishkin, 15 to 8 Grenadine, 30 to 2 Edwardstone, Gentleman de May 11s, 20 to Funambule Sivela and Dunvegan 66 to 1. 6 horses in here and not a single one of them who haven't earned their right to go for this race. And Shishkin, you've got your 2 Henderson horses coming off the back of a similar performance like this. Obviously Sprinter Sacre, who was beaten twice after pulling up and off absences. But last year, Tom, the likes of Champ and Mr. Fisher and Chantry House all ran absolute stinkers, came back next time out and won Cosley and Graded Company. So which Shishkin are we going to see on Saturday afternoon?
Oh, blimey, I don't know. God, that's a hard one.
Sorry, Tom, would you? What's I can ask Keels. Keels, which Shishkin's going to take?
Absolutely no idea. To be fair. He's an even money shot for a reason. He has the best form, and I'm sure Connections will be far happier than Paul Nicholls was to see the chases on today's card be won in 25 and 30 seconds outside standard. Because it's softer. So I think he's probably adopted his correct place in the market now. Got overall on form. One, because he's almost certainly now going to run, so you can push Grenadine out a bit and not worry about the cheeky, sneaky Wall 4s. And he does have the best form, but Grenadine is really, really good at Sandown. We know that. He's only been beaten once. He's won the last 3 times. He's won in great company, hacked up in this race last year, and he's the one with nothing to prove. You know what I mean? The ground isn't that bad. So he'll be fine on that. I mean, it was softer last year anyway, I think. And he's just a very good horse. He won the Horton Gold Cup pretty easily under a big weight. I'm not 100% sure he actually needed to improve to do so, because I've got a bit of a downer on the second season 2 milers, and 2 of those were in the race and got well and truly thumped. But, and the other thing about this race is this is the fast 2 milers Grade 1.
Yeah.
All right, it's 1 mile, 7.5 furlong. People often forget that. And in the Clarence House last year, Shishkin looked anything other than a fast 2 miler. He was on his head for well over half the race.
Yeah, fair.
And had the Ascot race been over 2 mile, 1.5 furlongs, Energy Me would barely have come off the bridle to beat him. And that's my worry. Now, whether the bone condition that he had at Cheltenham was already starting to bother him then, I don't know, because he obviously looked pretty fast when he thrashed Grenadine at Kempton. So who knows what we're going to see. But if you ask me what I was going to bet in the race, it'd be Grenadine, because he has less to prove. I did have a few critics around Funambule Sivela. I genuinely think he should be third.
Was that with 3 places earlier in the week?
No, it was still only 2 places earlier in
okay.
the week, but I was expecting with my punting head on, I was hoping that Shishkin and Edwardstone would turn up.
Yeah.
As a purist, which I am about 3% of the time, I'm quite happy to see the pair of them.
Yeah. But a cynic 97%.
But with the mercenary The mercenary that I am, I thought, right, I'm having a bit of this 28-1 because he should be second favourite without those two. I still think he's the wrong price in the market, but I'm not getting 3 places off anyone.
No, fair enough. David, 3 places?
Absolutely not.
Well, you don't ask, you don't get. Or in this case, you do ask and you don't get. But I'm gonna just to play contrarian, Tom. I know I apologise. This is your best role, of course. But Grenadine, does he have anything to prove? Has he beat a good horse? And if you say Nube Negra, I'm getting him walking out.
He's good at Sandown, isn't he? The time says he's good. I'm with Keels. I wouldn't want to back Shishkin now at even money after what happened at Cheltenham last year. I just think his jumping went off last year. Even when he won at Ascot, I didn't think he was brilliant. I thought maybe he was feeling it then as well. But I'd like to see him jump first before I get stuck into him in any race. Grenadine's obvious one. I'm a massive Edwardstone fan. I think we all know that. Still think he's good. I get what Gill says. The form of last year's 2 miles isn't good, but he's such a good jumper. I fall for these horses that jump like he does. Whether he can run as fast as Grenadine round Sandown, I don't know. But I think it's very tempting to throw a few quid at him at 7 or 8 to 1. I think he'll drift tomorrow. But I'm a massive fan of his. I think Grenadine's the solid one. I couldn't back Shishkin, but I can't wait. I mean, I love Edwardstone, so I'm really looking forward to seeing him tomorrow. I think he'll thrash Gentleman to me and the others myself. That would be my danger. I might play the forecast. In fact, Grenadine and Edwardstone. There we go. How about that?
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, Gentleman to me, we have to mention him. He looks a proper spring horse, though, doesn't he? You get the rhythm of his season. He's never won before February, and you get the feeling that, I mean, given who owns him, I wouldn't rule him out of getting down to a mark where they put him in a handicap. Never mind go for Grade 1 company, but you get the feeling the spring's going to be when he's going to come alive. Is there a problem? I mean, the Edwardstone factor, Tom. This is what, 3rd go at getting to the track this season?
I don't know. Probably means he's fitter now, doesn't he? When he's had a few more days to work. He was ready for, where was it, Cheltenham 2.5 weeks ago. Don't bother me.
No,
he's fine. No worries.
Fair enough. Absolutely no worries whatsoever. But David Stevens, which Shishkin's going to turn up tomorrow?
One that I will be taking on at even money. Just very quickly, Tom, you're confident Edwardstone will beat Gentleman to Me, although Gentleman to Me beat him easily at Aintree?
Yeah, I am pretty confident. I don't think that was Edwardstone. It's at the end of the Aintree's a funny place, Dave. I know you love it. You're Aintree's biggest fan. I'm always sceptical of horses that have gone. He had a long, hard season, didn't he? Cheltenham and Warwick and Aintree and Cheltenham, and I think he's really good, Edwardstone. I know the form doesn't stack up, but I think he'll be Gentleman to Me tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, I'm a huge Edwardstone fan as well. I do just worry, as Ross pointed out, that Alan King always said he didn't want to go to the Tingle Creek without a run. Obviously, he missed the Schlur. He then was mooted potentially at Ascot. Obviously, came out on that day. He has been drifting, it has to be said, all week. Again, I don't think we expected Shishkin and Edwardstone to line up 48 hours ago. They're both here. But this is one of those races, I didn't have a clue on the previous race, but this is either going to make or break the Christmas. We're having Turkey or not, because I think Grenadine is one of the bets of the season in this race. There's no question Shishkin is a better horse, but he's making his reappearance. He has got to bounce back from whatever injury problems he's had. And Grenadine will be absolutely trained to the minute for this, carrying top weight in the Horden Gold Cup to warm him up for this. This is his champion chase, Grenadine. This is his track. And with, question marks over his 2 bigger rivals, I think he was odds on earlier in the week when it looked like Shishkin and Edwardstone weren't going to run. Obviously, that's been corrected now, but what is he, almost 2 to 1? I'm not saying he's the better race or the better horse come Cheltenham, but in terms of here and now, very similar feeling to when Surname took on Altior at Ascot a couple of years ago. Just a coincidence, it's the same 2 trainers, but listen, fantastic that they're all running because, as I say, 48 hours ago, it didn't look like they would be, and now we could be in for one of the races of the season. Yeah,
absolutely. Like I said, even Dunvegan's can run to 164 on a good day. But okay, I'm going to lay Grenadine a place. Because that's really? What genuinely. If Shishkin, I genuinely think he's the 5th best 2-miler in this race if everything runs to form. Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely do. Yeah, it might be the Sandown factor, or Shishkin might blow them away.
Were you responsible for making Grenadine 12-1 last year? The massive drift. I'll have some of that again. Thank you very much.
Well, no, because he wasn't up against this lot, was he? He was racing against Hitman, Captain Guinness, Nube Negra, and a pensionable Shaka Passoir.
Top class horse in this race, and that's Shishkin that he's got to beat. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure he'd beat the others. But there you go.
The thing is,
You're going to lay 3 places.
Maybe not 3. No, maybe not 3. But the Shishkin's one of the few national owned horses over the past few years that has genuinely given me goosebumps when you see him win. So I do want to see him come back and bounce back to his best. But yeah, plenty of opinions in the Tingle Creek. Paul Kealy?
Yeah, Grenadine for me. Big fan.
Tom Segal?
Yeah, Paul Nicholls was on the TV today and he said, what did he say? Grenadine's improved. He's working miles better than he ever has been before. If he's the 5th best horse in this race for us, I'll be very surprised. I think he'll win.
Okay, fair enough. David?
Grenadine for me, very, very strongly. Of course, gambling responsibly, as always, I should hasten to add.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, for me, that is a responsible angle because it's I'm not getting, you're not getting carried away. I'm just saying that a couple of these horses could be better than him on the day if the Sandown factor doesn't completely come into play. So, like I said, if 12-1 for this last year, it's 15-8. If it was 12-1. Now we're talking. Johnny Sin says, can't wait for Shishkin to annihilate Grenadine. There you go, Johnny. Lovely stuff. Bubba says Edward Stone hasn't beaten much. First Shishkin second gentleman to meet, says Johnny Sin. There you go. Cracking Grade 1 on the card at Sandown tomorrow. 3 more races to get through. 1 more at Sandown, then we'll have 2 from Aintree, and then maybe a few bonus angles from Keels, seeing as he loves that Liverpool card tomorrow. And we cop off with the London National Handicap Chase, 3:30 at Sandown tomorrow. And Harry Fry at it again. He's got half the card entered at Sandown tomorrow, half the favourites at least. Revels Hill connections could well be on good form after Love Envoi, potentially earlier on in the card. Revels Hill is 7-4. Dacia Arbor, back at his favourite track, is 7-2. Quick Wave is 9-2. Eclair de Guy is 5-1, and it's 12-1 bar those. But a few of those would have a chance, including In Rem, who looks a thorough stayer, and Gwen Silly Burbas, who's pretty old at this time, but ran quite well in what looked a really good veterans race at Warwick last time out. But yeah, Revels Hill. Are you with Revels Hill? And before you say whether it wins, what's your favourite Revel, Tom?
Not the coffee one, that's for
Coffee
sure.
one, no, it's got to be the orange, isn't it?
All of them. I love Revels.
You love Revels.
We have a bet. We push them out one at a time, and you have to have a bet what's in them.
Right, okay.
When you're drunk. It's a
Hold on
fantastic bet on a train on the way home from
gamble
a race.
responsibly.
Please. Bet on what type of Revel it is.
Yeah.
But you consider all different shapes.
Yes, I know, but can you tell between the coffee and the orange? Can you?
I can't wait to put it in my
No.
mouth.
Can you tell between the raisin and the toffee? No, you can't.
No.
Have a go.
well,
You will lose. You know. Lots of money changes ahead of this, I promise you. Gambling responsibly, obviously.
There's going to be one day you're going to go down to the pier and you're going to see Keels like, roll up, bail the Revels, bail the Revels. What do we got? What are we going to do here? Coffee, Maltesers, what do you got? I don't know where that voice has come from, but anyway, Tom. Revels Hill.
Revel Challenge in the Isha pub on Saturday nights.
That's it.
Unbelievable.
We've done it in there.
Unbelievable. The only way that's an exciting game is if you're allergic to nuts. But Revels Hill 7-4 favourite, the London National. We've got a short price favourite again, Tom, but it's another good race. Dacia Arbor, Sandown, first, second at the track. Is it as easy as that?
He's got plenty of weight, hasn't he? I mean, Revels Hill's very short, isn't he? I thought. I mean, he ran well, didn't he, to Ascot? The other day, trip too short. He did get absolutely mullered, though, didn't he, by Your Darling, who could have won by 200 lengths, I thought. He did win last time, did win a marathon chase, and he stays well, plenty of potential, but 7-4 first time round Sandown. He was £9 higher than beating the 2 Amigos. Blimey, I think he could have beaten, I think 17 Amigos could beat the 2 Amigos these days. I mean, he's not that great. I'm not convinced that form's top notch. I want to take him on at the prices. Quick Wave's definitely interesting. I think she might need softer ground. She's got a lot of weight too. I'm quite interested in her for the Welsh National. I'm surprised she's coming here rather than Chepstow, which is interesting seeing. I quite like Eclair de Guy for your pal Lucy Wadham, who you were talking about earlier, Ross. Third in the race last year. If you watch the race back, coming to the last, looked all over. Looked like Eclair de Guy was going to absolutely bolt up. Ground was probably more testing that day. Slightly worried about twice he's done that. He's come to Sandown. He's run 2 brilliant races, but both times he's not quite got home. So that's my only worry about him. But I think on terms of handicap, he's £7 lower here. I think he's got a good chance. Harry Cobden takes over as well. I'm a paid up member of his fan club. So Eclair de Guy for me against Revels Hill.
Okay, yeah, Eclair de Guy 5-1, who also tried to come from pretty much last at Warwick, which never works out, does it, on its final start back in March. So been a bit of money for Eclair de Guy, thanks to Mr. Segal. Mr. Kealy, have you had a penny or two?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much echo everything Tom said there, really. I mean, I didn't see this as a race with a 7-4 shot, to be honest, and, I was just surprised to see that Revels Hill is that short. Not that he obviously doesn't have a really good chance here, but I came down on Eclair de Guy. Like Tom said, £7 lower than last year, which makes him £9 better off of Deja Abba. 7 lengths. It's a hard thing to do, to play it really late on softish ground at Sandown, and that's the problem, because he has looked all over the winner a couple of times there before, but he does go really, really well fresh. And Harry Cobden can sit very, very quiet, and it just depends on how long he can keep them on the bridle going up the hill when they turn for home. But in terms of handicapping, he's got an ace chance, and all the other dangers have got a lot of weight on their back for what looks reasonably testing ground.
The only one I thought was, like I said, I thought In Rem looked, cheap pieces on, 7-year-old, looked in need of a thorough test every time you see him run. Is proven in background. Yarder in form. Jockey's riding out of his skin.
Yard's going really, really well as well. Yeah, that's another one that could certainly go with it. It's the one that sort of you could argue has been missed in the market, especially with the Yard going so well. Had a
jump, hasn't he?
Had a marathon chase winner today.
Yeah.
Favre de Civilia.
He's got a jump, hasn't he, Rem Keels? I mean, he's only running 2 novice chases, isn't he? And I thought he jumped badly both times. Sandown's a tricky place to get it right. If he got it right, he would have a big chance of 14 to 1 for sure.
Yeah, he's another one that I'm willing to take that chance, given it's only his 3rd run at the price. So the winners wear Cavani menswear London National Handicap Chase. David Stevens, tell us whether you wear Cavani menswear and what wins the London National.
I do not wear Cavani menswear. I'm open to offers if they want to send me some for next week's In the Know. But I have nothing to add either on gambling on Revels or Eclair de Guy that the boys haven't already said. That's for me, and has been well back now into 5-1. And I should say we are an extra place each way here, so 4 places each way.
Okay, there you go.
Was it a penalty, Dave? Was it a penalty on Cavani?
What?
Was it a penalty on Cavani?
No, it wasn't. Wasn't it lovely to see
not.
Uruguay go out?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. I was watching it with my girlfriend, and when they tried to give that penalty, she was like, "If you're going to win it, Uruguay, win it fairly." And I'm going to say, Have you seen Uruguay? But Aintree then. Let's go to Aintree. We've got a couple of races at Aintree to look at. It's a cracking card as well. But Ahoy Signor back to his favourite track by a country mile really. 11-8 to win the Many Clouds Chase, which of course was won in impressive fashion by Protectorat last year. We could see another impressive winner here, but we've got the Improving Sounds Russian. We've got the returning Chantry House. We've got a Grand National winner in the shape of Noble Yates. Sam Brown at 13-2 ran okay in this last year, ran okay last time out. And Dashel Drasher has got his own fan club as well. Ahoy Signor though loves Aintree. Paul Kealy, does he win?
Yeah, loves Aintree. I mean, 2 great ones round there. You can see why he's short, but you can also see why people might want to take him on because of the way he ran at Weatherby last time. And who knows? Sometimes you get these horses that are great novices, and then they stop improving and go backwards. We've got to wait and see, haven't we? For that reason, I wouldn't back him. I'm quite prepared to see him hack up because he's a horse with still with the potential to be a fair bit better than his official mark at the moment. But I really like Sounds Russian for this race. I just think it's one of those young, improving, very professional. 1 defeat in the last 5, I think it is, to Dusart, who would have gone off one of the favourites for the Coral Gold Cup if he'd have made the track, because he'd been anti-post favourite for ages, and there was only a couple of pound in them at the weights. Then he went through the race at Kelso on his return really, really well, won very easily. A couple of horses, I think the 5th and 6th, have run really well in second since, and he'd beaten them, a fair old way. And I just think he's a young horse going places, and of course he gets all the allowances as well. He's, I think he's the only one unpenalised in the race. So he's the one for me tomorrow. But I'm quite prepared to see a horse who will win.
Okay, yes, Sounds Russian is a 5-1 shot though. Prepared to see Always in Your win, says Keels, and I mean he's got a record of improving hugely for those that first run, and that form's really working out, isn't it, Tom? I mean, Paint the Dream, Eldorado Allen have both come out and franked that good and proper, but Chantry House unbeaten, fresh, Noble Yates as well. I mean, at this rate, it won't be a national; it'll be a Gold Cup, won't it, for him in the spring? So it's a really good race.
Yeah, love it. I like all the horses in the race. Normally, you go through a race and think, don't like him, don't like him, don't like him. I like them all. Chantry House is the only two, the last 6 or 7 runs, the only 2 times he hasn't won are the King George and the Gold Cup. He's a pretty good horse on his day. I know people hate him now because he's disappointed in those 2 runs, but got some pretty good form. He won at Cheltenham Festival. He won at Aintree over in the, after that as a novice. Pretty good horse that. I wouldn't be throwing him out. Noble Yates obviously the Grand National winner. Sam Brown ran a career best by miles in the Charlie Hall, I thought, and he likes Aintree. And Dashel Drasher's one of my favourites. He just keeps on galloping, doesn't he? So I think Ahoy Senor will win because I think he's probably a different class to these now. And the one thing I'd say about his first run is Korak Rambler ran really badly as well on his first run, and that's why I didn't fancy him at all for the Coral Gold Cup the other day, but I thought he ran a race full of promise, really. I thought he bounced back to nearly his best. The race didn't go for him, and he made a mistake just as he was creeping into it. Otherwise, I think he'd have been right up with the first 3. So I think Ahoy Senor will bounce back. Would I back him at 11-8 in a race like that? Probably not, but I'd like to see him win because I think he's class.
Okay. Yeah, he is class indeed. And it's a classy little lineup, David, for this year's Many Clouds chase.
Yeah, it really is. Obviously, Chantry House and Ahoy Senor won the last 2 Group 1 novice chase at this at the Grand National meeting over this course and distance. Sam Brown ran a cracker last time and actually been well supported today. Kills has made a great case for Sounds Russian, but I'm a fully paid up member of the Ahoy Senor fan club. He is plenty short enough possibly to back, but I hope he wins. I hope he bounces back, puts that first run behind him. He's more than capable, like I say, on a course he loves. And he can still, I say, hopefully be one of the stars of this season later on in all the big races.
Yeah, well, Ahoy Senor then is 11-8. Stevens 99 says if he can't give Sounds Russian £3, he may as well give up. Ahoy Senor. So there you go. But potentially a cracking race, potentially a cracking winner. But Ahoy Senor is 11-8 market leader. Let's go over the national fences then for the Beecher Chase next before we wrap up the show. And I think Tom can go and put the kettle on early for this. But it's very much a Paul Kealy type of race. 23 runners over the national fences, 11-2 joint favourites, and then double figures the rest. Jess Keel is 11-2. Ashtown Lad is 11-2. 5-star Getaway 10s, Captain Kangaroo 10s, Reciter Prayer 11s, Fantastic Ass is 12s with Snow Leopardess and Hill 16. And it's bigger prices the rest. Loads of these have chances. And like so many of races over the national fences that, well, even the national, you get the feeling odds compilers just go, I don't even know where to start with this. Sure, we'll put that in as favourite because it's just so hard to work out how to price these races up.
Yeah, of course it is. It's a real skill being an odds compiler, isn't it? That's why we take them apart week in, week out. No, it is a really difficult race. But I backed a couple anti-post at decent prices. I backed the Rashican too. I think it's got a right chance despite having to carry 12 stone. Don't quite know why the top weight is 12 stone this year when it's always been 11-12. But on the upside, I think he's the lowest rated top weight for about 7 years by £11. So it's a lower class race than normal. He's won a Coral Gold Cup in the past. And I think his 2 runs this year were really, really good. Probably as good as his run since then. And he's coming into form. He jumped the first 7 fences perfectly well in the National last year, and then something fell right in front of him at the Canal Turn. So I think he'll go well. I backed Dero Vallis at a big price just because he got round here loads of times and does a much, much lower mark. But, I've looked at this race several times over the last few days and they've suddenly come to me like, the old light bulb switched on. And I think 5-star Getaway has just been absolutely laid out for this race by Christian Williams, who's one of the best target trainers there is when it comes to staying chases. I know he's not necessarily in great form at the moment, but I remember opposing one of his in a staying chase last year when he wasn't in great form and it got smashed off the balls and hacked up. Now, 5-star Getaway improved for 3 miles last year. He dropped back to have a look at the fences in the Topham, and that was run on good ground last year, very fast ground for Aintree. He says officially good as soft, but that's nonsense. It was very fast. He was a little bit rushed off his feet, but he jumped them fine. He made quite a big move to get a bit closer from 3 out to turn around the bend, and then obviously they ran away from him. 3 mile 2 furlongs is what he wants. He says, I'm sure he's an out-and-out stayer. He's had 1 run this year, really eye-catching 4th, just beaten just under 7 lengths, over 2.5 mile at Bangor. Inadequate trip. He's won 2nd time out in 2020 and last year, and I think he's going to run a massive race.
That's quite the case. That's quite the case for 5-star Getaway then, who's a 10-to-1 shot here in this this wide open contest. I thought a couple of interesting. Captain Kangaroo, who was, I mean, he could be another Live Love Laugh, I thought, for the Mullins team in the way he stays and he jumps. I've had a little nibble on the outside of the lot, which is Rapid Flight. For Jimmy Moffat and Danny McMenamin. Took on 2 horses for the lead at Hexham last time out, kept going. He's a prominent staying chaser, and hopefully he can jump into the places. How many places am I hoping for, David?
I don't know how many you're hoping for, but you can get 5.
I was hoping for 10, but we'll take the 5. Tom Segal, any thoughts on the Beecher?
No.
Thank you very much. Lovely stuff. David Stevens, any thoughts on the Beecher?
Yeah, I like Captain Kangaroo, the Cork National winner. He's part of our specials here, an Irish train winner. Willie Mullins has a couple, and the Jam Man also represents Ireland. That is 4-1 from 3-1. Sometimes Kills just has this effect on me. This is like when he goes into one eye, it's a bit like Yoda talking to Luke Skywalker, and the case he was making there for 5-star Getaway, I was sat mesmerised.
Very good chance he has.
I'm at Aintree tomorrow. This is the one that's going to pay for the Grenadine losses.
Yes, yeah, might pay for the 5-star Getaway as well. OK, the Beecher then. A cracking case made for 5-star Getaway, Keels, with a saver on.
Yeah, number 1 5-star Getaway. I backed a couple of outsiders earlier in the week, Darasha Counter and Didero Vallis.
OK, and I'll have pennies on Captain Kangaroo and Rapid Flight to finish probably 6th now. Tom Segal's getting ready for Brazil, Cameroon, I feel.
I have no clue. I'm fine. I mean, I used to have a very good record when the fences were big. I have absolutely no way into these races now. They're not very big. I've got a terrible record, so I will leave the race completely alone.
Fair enough. Play to your strengths, Tom. And David?
I've heard jockeys and trainers blame the fences. I've never heard a tipster blame the fences. 5-star Getaway. That confidence was infectious.
OK. All right. Let's wrap up the show then with our best bets for Saturday afternoon. Given what Keel said before the show, it might well come out of left field in a completely different race that we haven't mentioned. But let's find out. Paul Kealy, best bet on a cracking Saturday.
Yeah, Gunsight Ridge and the 240 at Aintree. There you go. I've been waiting exactly a year for him to go back up to 2.5 mile. He stepped up to 2.5 mile and it looked like he got outstayed at Exeter 12 months ago. But the horse that beat him was a certain Lom Press, who's suddenly 3 stone higher and might well win the Gold Cup with much faster. I think he probably will. And he got dropped back in trip afterwards. And he's actually done quite well. He's won twice over 2 miles. But he looked, when he ran 3rd at Aintree last year, like he was crying out for the trip, which is why they tried him. He has won over 2 miles since then. He won at Aintree on his return over 2 miles, but I think he's going to improve out of all recognition for another half a mile. And obviously Riders on the Storm is the one to beat, only £2 higher than when beating Hitman in the old Roan, but I think we're going to see more improvement from Gunsight Ridge.
There we go. Tom Segal, Nat, please.
Bridge North in the handicap hurdle at Sandown for me.
OK, Bridge North it is. David Stevens' best bet.
Grenadine in the Tingle Creek.
Very well. I probably. Can I sit on the fence? Can I take it in? But no, I thought Dolphin Square. But every time I take Tom on in these naps, it never goes particularly well. But I think Dolphin Square will run a big race in conditions to suit. But that's it. That's it for another In the Know. It's a cracking Saturday. It's a cracking Sunday. And we'll be back next week, of course, for more action from Cheltenham as well. Paul Kealy, thank you. Tom Segal, thank you. David Stevens, thank you. Everyone in the production office as well. Thank you for keeping the show on the road and for you at home for watching. I hope you enjoy the football, the racing and anything else you get up to this weekend. Goodbye.